So you're thinking of moving to Maricopa, Arizona? Awesome. In this video, I'm going to take you through some of the pros and cons of the city so that you can decide for yourself if this is a place that you could see yourself moving to and living in, or if you'd be better off finding a different location. Stick around to the end because I'm going to go through a lot of things, and we're going to get things going right now. If this is your first time to our channel, then make sure to tap the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can get notified every time I drop a new video about Maricopa or the Phoenix suburbs, so that you can stay up to date on the market here and keep up to speed on things. My name's Mike Millett. I get questions, calls, text, emails from people just like you all the time who want to know more about this area. So if you are considering a move to Maricopa or the Phoenix area in the next 9 days or 9 months, I would love to help you make it the smoothest move possible. So let's jump right into the pros first. And to me, the first one has got to be that it feels like a great community here. There's always going to be people complaining on Facebook, people complaining on Nextdoor, but all in all, people really look out for each other. They help each other out. People are friendly here, wherever you go, really. And my family has found a great community, a sense of belonging here, like to me at least, haven't felt in a lot of other places. I'm now playing pickleball almost every morning at the Copper Sky Park, and there's several other people that are regulars there. Play volleyball every Tuesday night with members in the community, and one of my favorite hobbies is actually backyard gardening. And there have been several times now where I have had extra kale or extra jalapenos or extra tomatoes, and tomatoes most recently, and so I offer it for free to the community, and just kind of the community coming together and just being so friendly and happy. And I'm obviously, who doesn't like getting free homegrown tomatoes, but still gotten to know people a little bit more through that. But I'm not alone necessarily in offering things like that to the community. There's an active Facebook group just for doing things like that, giving back to the community in that way. But everywhere you go here, people just do kind of look out for each other, and it's a friendly place. I don't know if you can hear that right now, but there's an ice cream truck outside right now, so bonus. Those are still a thing in some places, but Maricopa is actually usually a pretty quiet community. It's not very common for me to hear things from outside my own house when I'm in my house, and just not a lot of crazy, not a lot of chaos. Small town benefit. So let's check out a list of special events calendar from the Maricopa website, just to kind of give you kind of an idea of what sort of things happen here. I'll just sort through or scan through really quick, and you can pause as needed, or you can check them out check out their website. It's pretty easy to Google and find, but there's some pretty much events for every holiday. Halloween, Christmas, 4th of July. There's a nice fireworks show, considering that we're only 75,000-ish people, but they put a lot of effort into it. One of the nice things about these events is that they tend to have pretty high turnout for a city event, and so it's pretty cool to find out that your friends or your neighbors are going to go, and you just meet each other there, and it's great. We also have a lot of smaller events. Like, one of my favorites is there's movie nights, I think once a week in the summers outside of Copper Sky. So that can be pretty fun to take the kids to. And just actually real quick explanation of Copper Sky. It's our main park here. There's a large multicultural center with a lot of workout and sports things inside, and access to a pool, a pretty nice pool with Olympic-sized lap area, a splash pad and water slide and lazy river and some things like that, and that's all for $34 a person per month, or for a family, I think it is. And then a lot of outdoor things, like that's where I play pickleball. They've got several like baseball, softball fields, a little skate park there, dog park, and a nice big lake where I believe they have catch and release fishing there, and it's just a nice place to be, and it's a cool venue for all these events that we have here. So part of that is Maricopa has a very small town feel to it. We're up to 75,000 people here, past that I think, which isn't tiny, but there's no skyscrapers here. There's no high rises. I think the tallest building is a hotel, our only hotel in town. And then just outside of town, about 10 minutes from here, is the Gila River Casino hotel. So that might be a little bit taller, but pretty much anywhere you look, you've got clear views of the sky. It is, a suburb setup, so there's homes everywhere, but nothing really blocking your view if you take a few steps back. When there's an eclipse or when there's a beautiful moonrise, you can get some great views here. That kind of takes me to my next pro. Maricopa was incorporated as a city in 2003. Prior to that, we were just over 1,000 people, and now we're 75,000 strong. So almost all of the homes here are much newer than most of the Phoenix metro area, where in Phoenix you see homes built in the 1920s, or most homes out there probably are from the 1960s. You get some in the 80s and 90s, but few entire cities are as new as most of Maricopa is. And there are still a lot of active builders here, so you can get a brand new home, and the warranties that comes with, and the great interest rates that they're offering in a lot of cases. But just having all the newer homes kind of makes, in a lot of cases, for nice neighborhoods that haven't been worn down through the ravages of time. Don't get me wrong, older homes can be great if they're kept up and they're renovated, which is the case in plenty of places out there. Just, there's something to be said for newer homes, newer communities. So that brings me to the next pro, which is the weather here, the climate. The winters here in Arizona are far better than most of the rest of the U.S. In the dead of winter, it might be 75 degrees as the high. It might be 55 as a high. But I'm wearing shorts out there. I'm comfortable. I love it. There's all sorts of things to do in the winter here. In some ways, a lot of Arizona and Maricopa comes alive in the winter time, and that's when you go outdoors and you just live life and enjoy this great state. With our warmer weathers, our heating bills are typically really pretty low in the wintertime, whereas in some climates, that's where your big energy bills are. The winters here are so mild that about this time last year, I planted a tomato plant, just one or two, I think. One didn't make it for whatever reason. The other one actually survived through the winter. I had to cover it once or twice with a sheet for frost, and outside that, it's been thriving. And that one plant has given me, I don't know, probably 50 pounds of tomatoes in the last month or two, and I've still got more out there. And it's my point is that it's so mild during the winters that plants that would die off almost anywhere else unless it's in a greenhouse can live and survive and thrive, and several other of my other plants have done the same pretty much. And hopefully that illustrates for you a little bit how nice the winters can be here. And then conversely, the summers can be pretty hot here, but it sounds a little cliche to me, but it's a dry heat and it doesn't feel nearly as bad as a lot of places that only get to say 90 with 100% humidity, where you're pretty miserable during that time. So the low humidity here pretty much year round really helps keep those temperatures just feeling just more comfortable in general. So that brings me to my next pro. The economics here in Maricopa, in my mind, are really favorable in a lot of ways. According to the Maricopa City website, the average household income here is $86,000 a year, which isn't necessarily the biggest, but when you look at some of the other costs of living, it comes out really favorable. A lot of people here work from home, which can be pretty advantageous for Maricopa. There are a lot of people that go to kind of the Phoenix metro area for work every day. And then there's obviously some jobs here in Maricopa, and there's a lot of developments that are coming too, which bring with them a lot of opportunities, either for new businesses or for finding jobs with those. So let's check some of them out real quick. The S3 Biotech Copper Sky Medical Campus. So this is a full-service hospital, some condominiums, some supporting businesses that is planned for an area over by the Copper Sky Park. And there's a lot of parts coming to that. It's actually going to flesh out the medical care quite a bit here in Maricopa. Obviously, there's a lot to be built there, and a lot of high-paying jobs that are going to go there. We're really going to be a great support to Maricopa, the growth of Maricopa. There is also the Apex Motor Club. They already do some things here. They have a luxury car club that meets quite a bit, but they're building out, they're expanding quite a bit. Going to have a large racetrack and some other things there. So it's definitely something worth watching for. We are also getting a large world-class surf park here in Maricopa called Phoenix Surf, even though, yes, it will be in Maricopa. This was originally planned as a larger project, but at 70 acres now, it's down to 13 acres, but that's still quite a bit, with 2 big wave pools and a lot of supporting things there. We're really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to the discount that I get for being a Maricopa resident when that does open up. There's also the Estrella Gin. Sorry, it's hard for me to say that. Estrella. Estrella. I speak Spanish, and that word means star, and saying it in English is just weird to me. Anyway, business park coming to Maricopa. There's the other one that will have Home Depot incorporated into it, and several other stores and a grocery store in it. So big developments there. And there's just a lot more. This is probably never going to be a major corporate center, but there's a lot of growth potential here. If you're starting a company, this might be a good place to consider to kind of benefit from the growth of the area. So you've got your paycheck figured out. Now, how much is a home going to cost you in Maricopa? So there's a few different ways I could have gone about demonstrating this, but I like this one right here. The Cromford Report, they're the premier stat tracking organization company for real estate in Maricopa. This one is the monthly average sale price per square foot. So this kind of breaks it down to, for every square foot of home that you buy in a given city, how much is it going to cost? So if we look at Maricopa, for example, the most recent number is $194.88 per square foot. So I made this simple little calculator to help us keep track of it. At $194.88, I think I got that right. A 1,500 square foot house would be this much. 3,000 square foot house would be this much, okay? In Maricopa. Okay? So if we look at, let's see, I think the next lowest is what? Avondale. Okay, so the most recent number is $220.51. Did I get that right? 220.51. Okay. Okay, so that brings our numbers up to. Okay, so at the smallest size, let's move that down. At the smallest size, that is $38,000 more for a 1,500 square foot home. Okay, at the largest size, 3,000 square foot, it is double that. Oh, math right now. Okay, I'm pretty good at math, but rather than risk making a mistake, I'm going to let that do the math for me. Okay, so $76,000, almost $77,000 more in Avondale versus Maricopa at 3,000 square foot. Okay, and then let's just plug everything else in just so we can, I don't know, see where things lie. Maricopa is this kind of burnt orange color. Okay. Paradise Valley, let's take them out because they're just so pricey that it's very much a luxury city, and Scottsdale to a lesser degree, depending on the neighborhood, they can be very luxury. At any rate, so those were way up here. Maricopa is down here at the bottom. So these are the 17th largest cities in the Phoenix metro area, and Maricopa is easily the most affordable one. So let's pick, I don't know, Phoenix at $318.37. Okay, and we have these numbers right here. So $477,000 at a 1,500 square foot home. or almost $1 million, coming up on $1 million at a 3,000 square foot home. Now, Phoenix especially is a huge city. There's variances throughout, but as an average, it still gives you a good idea for how comparatively affordable Maricopa is versus other cities. These numbers, of course, don't account for how new a home is, upgrades that have been done to it, how desirable of an area it is. So, grain of salt. It takes a lot more micro focus to figure out how all those things fit in, but still, it's pretty clear that Maricopa is affordable, and that, along with them being newer homes, kind of helps fill out the picture at least a little bit. Another great thing about Maricopa, whether it applies directly to you or not, is it's very veteran heavy. I myself, I'm an Army veteran. I was in for 6 years. Deployed to Afghanistan twice. I like Maricopa better than Afghanistan. Imagine that. But there's a lot of veterans here. There's some great support from within and from the community as well. And even if you're not a veteran yourself, some people like to have a lot of veterans around for whatever their given reason is. For veterans, there's a VFW chapter here. There's an American Legion chapter here. There's something else that I can't think of off the top of my head, but there's a Maricopa Veterans Center here for a lot of direct support services. And there's of course a Facebook group that's really active and just a lot of kind of community. There's a Veterans Day parade every year, and they have veterans marching it or walking it really with their families. I did it the year before, not this last year, but it's still fun. There's a lot to offer here. We don't really have any VA services here in town, but there's some in Casa Grande, which is 25-minute drive from here, or a major hospital or two in the Phoenix area. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on for the pros is the public transport in Maricopa, and there's a couple reasons for that, but it is a pretty small town, so this one route goes around the entire thing. Basically, if you wanted to say walk here toward the center where it's not exactly reaching, you might be out of luck for that option, but there is a second option. But it takes about an hour to go around once, and participation or use of the service is free, actually. So if those routes don't work, with 24 hours notice, they have a dial-a-ride service, and that costs $1 from point A to point B anywhere inside Maricopa. So really affordable, and door service beats having to call a Lyft or an Uber, or heaven forbid, walking somewhere. But I actually just found out about this not too long ago. And it would have been great for my family, helping get kids to places, except my 16-year-old just got his license, so a little too late finding out this information, but now so you can take advantage of it. So now I'm going to delve into the cons a little bit, reasons you might not want to pick Maricopa, but I am going to try to generally talk about ways to get around these issues, or maybe help you understand why maybe they're not going to be a big deal to everybody. The first con to me has got to be, the location of Maricopa. We're a few miles south of Phoenix metro area, which is where the vast majority of the population is, and all the businesses that you could ever want are up there pretty much. But it's about a 15 or 20 minute drive with no traffic to start to get into the Phoenix metro area. You'll hit Ahwatukee and Chandler first when you get up there. Outside of that, it's kind of isolated. We're bordered by two Indian reservations, and there's just not a whole lot built there. There's not a lot of people, not a lot of business to do there outside of, say, the Auction Resort and Casino. Obviously, that's the thing you can take advantage of in some different ways if you need to. But yeah, it makes it feel kind of isolated. There's a few towns in some different directions, but the main one is going to be Phoenix metro area, and we do feel a little bit cut off from them. That kind of takes me to my next con, which is the 347, and as I've said before, this is one of the main things that residents of Maricopa will complain about for a couple different reasons. But it's a 4-lane road, so two lanes in each direction. So you've got a fast lane and a less fast lane. But during rush hour or during a collision, they're all just kind of slow lanes. That 20 to 15 minutes to get through that area can turn into, an hour, or it's gotten as bad as 3 hours. That's pretty unusual, and it doesn't happen often, but it has the potential to reach that long when something really bad happens, when there's a fatality on that freeway. Some people drive recklessly and too fast there, but overall it's just a challenge when there is an issue with traffic for whatever reason. There were a couple months not too long ago where they were doing construction in that area where the town meets the 347, and that was causing significant delays. That was really painful for a lot of people who were trying to commute. And thankfully that's cleared up, and hopefully we won't have to worry about that for quite some time. We are hoping to expand the 347 to make it at least 3 lanes either direction, because that could make a huge difference in relieving the pressure. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like we have anything solid, despite some different proposals and different things. There is an alternate route to avoid the 347 entirely, going down south on the 10 through Ahwatukee, and I'll show this on a map so you're not trying to figure out what I'm doing with my pen. You go down the 10 further, avoid the 347, and you hit Casa Grande, and then you cut across through to Maricopa, because there's a road that connects those two, and that'll typically add about 20 minutes to your commute time. But if the alternative is huge traffic through the 347, it might be what you need. But my main tip is use Google Maps to help you decide which route to take, because the 347 is usually the faster route, but not always. So keep that in mind. Don't forget to use Google Maps. So along with that, traffic can be a little bit of an issue here in Maricopa, mostly in that area that's kind of congregating to head out to the 347, because it kind of has a funneling effect. That can be a little frustrating sometimes, but usually, and we'll have some traffic in other areas too, but usually it won't add more than 5 minutes to your travel time within town, inside of town. Now Maricopa again is fairly small, so I can get from where I'm at to anywhere in Maricopa in usually 10 minutes, 15 minutes at most. So adding 5 minutes to that is not that big of a deal to me. It's within reason. Obviously, again, since there's a lot of construction through Maricopa, most of it is homes at this point, or businesses off the road, so it's not going to impact you too much, but it is something to keep in mind. Things can change, so this information could be completely invalid in the future. So, but again, touching on that this is a small town, like I just said, while that's a good thing to a lot of people, that's a bad thing to others. If you're coming from, say, San Francisco or New York City, and you love the big city, and you come to Maricopa, this is not that. No skyscrapers, no crazy nightlife. We don't have many bars, we don't have many clubs or anything like that. So if those are things that you would depend on a major social life, you're not going to find it in Maricopa, or not much of it anyway. There are some restaurant bars that try to provide a fun atmosphere, nightlife atmosphere, but they're relatively sparse. Phoenix metro area again is going to fill all those needs if you're okay with that drive. And then my next con is we are actually pretty close to a dairy farm that smells like a dairy farm. So it can stink. It's once in a while it gets pretty bad. Usually it's just unpleasant, but you almost never, I don't think I've ever smelled it during the daytime. It's only at night, say, I don't know, 6 p.m. or later, and maybe 20% of the time. So it's not a constant thing. It's not horrific. It's survivable. It's livable. It's just something you notice, and then it's like, oh, that kind of stinks. Close the door, please. Or get to the car, whatever you're doing. But it's something to keep in mind. It's not everyone's favorite smell. Some people, might have grown up on a farm and they love it, but that's not me. And then the next con is the heat. So it does get hot here. It's a dry heat, and the winters are great, but during the core summer months, we'll hit 112, 115 sometimes, and that's uncomfortable. everybody's got AC in their car and in their home, and if you don't, then you need to get fixed ASAP. The water in the cold water will, in most cases, come out kind of lukewarm, not truly cold. So you got lukewarm and hot, but yeah, you hide from it. Ultimately is what you do. You stay indoors as much as possible, kind of like people do in colder areas during the winter time, except in a lot of those places it drags on for months, whereas here it's kind of 3 months where it's pretty intense. And during that time, people go swimming a lot. They play in the sprinklers. Copper Sky has that great pool. A lot of the HOA communities here have pools that you can use for free if you're a member of the community. A lot of people have pools in their backyards. We don't have a pool, but our neighbors, our good friends 2 doors down, they have a pool, so we take advantage of that because they are awesome. And you go north and you go camping, because we have some wooded areas, higher elevations that are really nice during the summer months. Still inside Arizona, you get through it, you complain about it a little bit, and then the winter comes. Around September we start getting some relief. Late-ish October, it starts feeling amazing outside every day, and it's great, and you love your decision to move to Arizona. So with temperature, with our climate, that brings our next con, which is, this is a desert landscape, and there's some real beauty to be found here, but it's different than a lot of the rest of the U.S. We don't have, the same big epic trees that turn beautiful colors in the fall time. Typically the trees that we have, they stay green throughout the year, and they generally don't get as big, and there's some exceptions, but there's not natural growing grass everywhere. There's a lot of desert landscaping at homes, but a lot of people have grass and a lot of people have trees. It's just not on the same scale and not as much green as in other places. There's nice things like once a year for a couple weeks, we'll have a lot of bushes that like simultaneously burst out, and it's a really beautiful violet. The mesquite trees will burst out in bright yellow everywhere, and then that kind of rains down everywhere too. It can make a mess, but I like it, and it adds splashes of colors. Along that 347, once in a while we'll get like a super bloom in the springtime where it just explodes with different fields of color. Some yellows and pinks and purples, and it's really pretty, really unique. But as a whole, we have saguaro cactuses, and we have scorpions, we have rattlesnakes, we have cougars and javelinas, and those things sound terrifying, and people get scared of them when they talk about Arizona, but they're actually not, like, in my experience, they're not common. Some people have like real scorpion problems, but I was born in Arizona, lived here my entire life, and I've only ever once seen a scorpion inside a place that I live, and it was dead. So not much of a threat there. I've seen 2 rattlesnakes ever, and those were while I was hiking, and pretty easy to spot and stay away from. As far as other wildlife goes, coyotes too, I suppose. They're worse in some areas than others, but it's not like a major thing. You don't walk around in fear of being attacked by wildlife. That's not real. You keep your small animals indoors, and you don't feed the wildlife like that, and it's okay. It's fine. It's just not an issue or a real concern for people that live here for long in most areas. And then I think the last con I have for this list is that as of right now, we don't have a full hospital. Or the full medical services that come along with it. So that can be inconvenient if you have some really specific medical needs. We do have a lot here, but not everything. So if you have specialists that you need to see, then before making a purchase in Maricopa, find out what kind of services are here and see if your needs will be met, or if if you're okay with the drive, or if you'd be better off moving to a different city instead that has things more convenient to you. Now, when you're driving on the 347, it can be pretty cool sometimes to look out and there will be horses to the side. They're not always there. In fact, usually I don't see any horses, but sometimes I'll see a few horses. Sometimes I'll see a giant herd of horses. And with 100+ horses and some baby foals out there, and it's just I don't know, there's something spiritually fulfilling about seeing horses running free, and just living life like they were meant to, I guess. But I think Maricopa as a whole does agree with me on that, especially when there's a big crowd. You'll see several cars pulled off to the side of the road, just getting every picture they can. And sometimes people will have drones like Victor Moreno, who does a lot of photography for Maricopa. He has a lot of really pretty horse shots. But that is it. I hope this video was really useful to you. I really tried to make sure that it was. If you have specific questions that I didn't answer here, or you need more details on something, please ask in the questions below. I would love to get back to you on things, or maybe you'll inspire a new video. Or you can reach out to me directly. My contact information is in the video notes below as well. So shoot me a text or give me a call, or let's hop on a Zoom. And like I said earlier, if you're planning a move here, I would love to help you with that. It would be my honor. So if you made it to the end of this video, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Stick around, because I'm going to be releasing a lot more content about Maricopa and other Phoenix suburbs, so that you can really get a better idea for what things are like here. So thank you so much. I will talk to you or see you soon. Bye.